Not a great day in Atlanta. Let's discuss what went wrong on today's Locked On Warriors.
Who cares now? Because I'm here, and I would like to think that I am wanted here.
Most importantly, he a dog.
We got 4 championships.
You are Locked On Warriors,
I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
your daily Golden State Warriors podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network.
Speculation is just what it is now.
Your team every day.
What's the good word, everyone? Thanks for making Locked On Warriors a part of your day, part of your weekend. We're free and available wherever you get your audio podcasts. You can also check us out on YouTube. We have a daily newsletter that's sent to you. You can subscribe at lockedondaily.com. Again, that is a free newsletter. And YouTube audio podcast, good place to check us out. Hit that thumbs up and subscribe. My name's Charlie Walter, formerly at 95.7 The Game. That's the flagship station of your Golden State Warriors. Also covered the team in their championship run for CBS News Bay Area, call letters KPIX. Steph Curry, not in Atlanta today. The good news, no structural damage. It does sound like there's some optimism that he could return on this road trip, which stretches over the next 5 games. He's back in San Francisco right now getting treatment for pelvic contusion. So we will have to wait and see. The Warriors could have used him tonight, but really it wasn't the offense. So maybe it had nothing to do with Steph and had a lot more to do with the Atlanta Hawks being red hot. And a lot of that can be credited to the Warriors not having great rotations, not having good energy out of the gate, and they lose by 9 points. So let's start there. Giving up 40 points to Atlanta in the first quarter is brutal. Brutal. The rest of the game, the defense was all right. For the most part, 36 minutes, it was decent. Although I will say it was untimely defense to where Niang or whoever it may be just had open look after open look down the stretch, would knock it down when the Warriors would cut it down to 9, and didn't seem like the Warriors ever had a chance in this one. Atlanta has been their house of hell. There's been no Southern hospitality when they go to Atlanta. That's now 6 straight losses, and not just 6 straight losses, but 6 straight games where the Warriors have not played well in that building. So just chalk it up as one of those games a team comes out and does not play well. It's not the end of the world. It seems like it is as of right now, because the Warriors just have to keep winning games or they are going to be in this play-in. That is how hot the Western Conference is right now. They're 1 game back of the 5 spot. They're 1 game in front of, now not 1 game anymore, but right there neck and neck for the 7 spot as well. So you got to keep winning basketball games. Atlanta is one that on paper you should have won, but it's the best team during this 5-game stretch. They're 34-36 now on the season. They're a play-in team in the Eastern Conference, and these types of games happen. This was the one game we looked at on this road trip where you said, all right, I could see the Warriors going 4-1, losing to the Hawks. And I said that before Steph Curry was injured. So chalk it up as one of those days. There were some good and bad that we're going to get into on today's show. Bad, Jonathan Kaminga has not looked great the last few days. I thought there was a stretch where he looked really good, but the microcosm of his struggles today just goes back to a moment where he was switched up on Trae Young, and instead of utilizing that matchup, instead of being advantageous, he just picks up his dribble, passes to Jimmy, and the possession dies. Jimmy, a big positive again. He's been awesome. 25, 8, and 4 in the game. Moses Moody, spectacular. We'll talk a little bit about him and his 20 points, his 5 assists, his 4 rebounds, and the great defense that Moody has been playing. Gary Payton returns for the Warriors. He has 11. And then no Draymond offensive explosion today, just 5 points. Did have 6 rebounds and 6 assists. Pajemski, 19 points. Missed a few layups that I thought could have sparked a little momentum. And then missed a 3 down, I think it was 12, with about 4 minutes left that really would have flipped things, especially since the Hawks went the other way and knocked one down. But let's start with the Atlanta Hawks and I guess discredit that first quarter, because the Warriors did not come out with a serious effort in terms of closing out. The dribble drive was just killing them all game. The assist numbers alone tell the story. 37 assists on 49 made basket for the Atlanta Hawks. They were beating their men off the dribble, they were kicking, and they were knocking down threes at a high clip. They shot at 57% from the floor, 41% from three, 15 of 36. George Niang, 6 of 9. It was in the first half, it was actually a Kongwu who tore up the Warriors. He had 18 at the half, finished with 22, and then it was Niang who turns around and picks up all the fire that Okongwu had heading into the locker room. Okongwu was 10 of 16 from the floor, 2 of 3 from deep, also had 12 rebounds, 6 assists. He looked outstanding. We all know Trae Young can put the ball in the basket. He had 25 on 9 of 15, also got to the free throw line 7 times, hit 6 of them, had 10 assists in the game. You look at the Warriors offense and it wasn't bad. They only turned it over 9 times, which for the Warriors is great. They shot at 46% from the floor. That's really good. And they shot at 42% from deep, 16 of 38 with 28 assists in the game. That's good offense. That is not the issue. The 124 they gave up today was the most since March 1st when they gave up 126 to the Sixers. And this kind of felt like that Sixers game. Sure, they didn't get 40 from one guy. It was Quentin Grimes. I think he had 44 in that Sixers game. But this was, Niang catching fire. It was Okongwu catching fire in the first half. And it was the Hawks just playing better basketball than the Golden State Warriors. And this is the theme at the end of the season. Dubs have tons of games that they should be winning, but they're going to get hungry basketball teams. And the Atlanta Hawks are not one of these hungry basketball teams just because they have guys fighting for their lives. They're a hungry basketball team because they're playing better basketball and have a chance to play meaningful series entering the month of April. So they got the Hawks on a tough night. And again, no Southern hospitality in that arena. It's just been consistently brutal. A lot of comments right now coming in on Jonathan Kaminga. We're going to get into this talk. There's no Matt Kolsky on the show tonight to defend him, so I'm just going to give you my honest take about Kaminga and where the Warriors are going to go heading into the future. But want to continue talking about this game a little bit more. Also, Kevin Knox. This isn't worth an entire segment, but Kevin Knox has been added to the team throughout the remainder of the season. So he signed. And then that 15th spot, the question is, who will that go to? Hearing a lot of potentially Braxton Key being that 15th guy. So again, very small developments in terms of the roster, but something had to be done in terms of adding people down the stretch. And Kevin Knox will be here the rest of the season. A big positive that I saw from today's game, at least offensively. Defensively, there were some issues there, although he can bang a little down low. We've seen it. But Quentin Post, again, the three-point shot is outstanding. I want to talk a little bit about Post. Is Draymond Green basically came out after the Raptors game and said that he saw this in Post throughout the summer. Joe Lacob maybe didn't see it that way. The basketball genius against the guy that holds the keys to the basketball team. We'll debate that. It's coming up next on a Locked On Warriors.
Destroy Jimmy and Domino's. I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. It's America's #1 sports book. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use from everything buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and who's cutting down the nets. Unfortunately, there have been no buzzer beaters. There have been no Cinderella stories, and there may not be a Cinderella story. So we will see. But I got my eyes on a few underdogs this year. It was Drake. I won some money on Drake, so you can do the same as well. FanDuel app, simple to use, easy and free. Get paid instantly, no waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com to get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Let's also tell you about our sponsor, Upwork. Scaling your business requires the right expertise at the right time, and that is where Upwork comes into play. This is really good stuff. If you haven't heard about Upwork, let me tell you a little bit about it. Gives your businesses flexibility by connecting them with top freelance talent across multiple industries, including IT, AI, web development, marketing, whatever you need for extra hands when it comes to a project or a long-term partner, Upwork makes hiring simple and affordable. Finding the right talent, you can do it with Upwork. It's fast and easy hiring. You'll get a freelance expert who delivers incredible results. So instead of hiring full-time, Upwork will find you affordable, top-tier freelancers to scale your business efficiently. Visit Upwork.com right now and post your job for free. That is Upwork, UPWORK.com, Upwork.com to connect with top talent and grow your business today. Let's get back to the show.
Destroy Jimmy and Domino's. I know Jimmy drinks great wine.
All right, let's talk a little Quentin Post. Well, let's start with some good before we get into some of the ugly from today's game. Quentin Post and his three-point shot is as legit from a 7-footer as I have ever seen. Maybe not the best, but it's up there with the best I have legit ever seen. I mean, he's hitting them off the dribble. He's catching, shooting a split second. He's stepping into threes. Hasn't shown that here's a March name, that Kevin Pittsnoggle turnaround three-pointer in his arsenal. Or I'm trying to think of some of the greats in the NBA that have had that turnaround three-point shot at 7 feet off the screen. Not many, to be honest with you. Hasn't shown that part of his game. But when it comes to just catching, shooting, he's got the length to get it off over anyone. He's got a quick release. He's got a pure stroke. Quentin Post is really good, folks. The Warriors found gold in the second round of the NBA draft. Trading out, trading back in. They did the wise thing, trading back in, because Post has been awesome. Played 28 minutes in the game today. Again, exceptional basketball. You wonder how he fell to the second round with his shooting abilities at 7 feet and the fact that he can defend a little, he can bang a little, he's tough. He's a rookie, not afraid to get the crowd up and change the momentum of a game. He's jawing from time to time. Like, he's got that edge. The Dutchman, the dialing up Dutchman. And in training camp, Draymond Green actually said that he told Joe Lacob, quote, Joe, I'm telling you, this kid can really help us. He shoots the ball extremely well, plays solid defense, and he ain't soft at all. Green gives the endorsement. Post started the season in the G League. Lacob wasn't fully convinced the rookie was ready, and Green knew it. This is something that I always find fascinating, in the fact that, because it's going to tie into the Kaminga conversation that we're going to have in a second as well, because Joe obviously loves Jonathan more than anyone in the organization, even more than my guy Kolsky. And apparently he does have a lot of the keys to this kingdom. We saw it with Wiseman. That was his guy. Love the tantalizing athleticism and the just 7-foot frame with the 240-pound body. Loved everything about it. But I'm sure if Draymond had his pick back in that draft, I would imagine, maybe I'm wrong here, but I would imagine he would have said absolutely not. Soft, I could sniff it out. But he knows that Quentin Post just has that dog to him, and it has been a thing of beauty. Jimmy Butler was really good again today. 25 in the game, got to the free throw line 14 times, did his part. 25 and 8, consistently gets his teammates involved. So again, it was not anything to do with the Warriors offense. It was just all defensively. It was being late on closeouts. It was, again, letting men beat you off the dribble for the kick out. And then you just got to give a lot of credit to the Atlanta Hawks. Even teams that are sub 500 can shoot the lights out of the gym and beat just about anyone. That is the nature of the NBA. This is not a 20-win team. This is a 34-win team. They're a little better than some of the quote-unquote scrubs. All right, Jonathan Kaminga. Let's get into him. Very torn in terms of what people – it's either Kaminga is that dude. He can score at will. He could be your second scorer. You got to keep riding him. He's only, 21, 22 years old. And then there's the group that says at a certain point, you kind of are who you are, and they are very down on Kaminga. I'm a little bit in the middle. I think Kaminga is a good basketball player. I think he can help you win, although the numbers since he's been back, at least in terms of plus minus, if you believe in plus minus, and the fact that Jimmy was a plus 11 today, and Moses was a -2. Those are two of your best plus minus in the game today. And Gary Payton, who played well. I mean, they do tell a little bit of a story of who played well for the Warriors today. And Jonathan Kaminga was a team worst -18. -18. Took 4 3-pointers, did hit one of them. I'm to the point where I wish Kaminga would kind of treat his game like Giannis and just not shoot that 3 more than once a week. You know, he's got to be wide open to let it fly. But I get it. He can knock it down at a decent clip to where you keep it in the arsenal. But I just wish he would attack even more than he already does. And that Trae Young play I mentioned where he had the switch and didn't go, that's one that frustrates me. But is there a chance? Is there a chance that Moses Moody is turning into a better overall basketball player than Jonathan Kaminga? Same draft. Kaminga goes higher. You know, Kaminga has the really high ceiling. Moody has the lower ceiling, in my opinion, but the very high floor. And Moody's putting together good game after good game. I mean, at a certain point, results speak for themselves. Now, the counter argument is Kaminga was playing awesome basketball before he got hurt. But the spin zone to that is you add Jimmy Butler, who does a little bit of what Kaminga does, right? Doesn't provide that athleticism, that highlight reel type, mode. But at the same time, the Warriors won a championship in 21-22 without that highlight reel type mode. Although when they won that championship, they had Andrew Wiggins delivering highlights like posters over Luka. So I guess you can have the counter argument there, but you don't need necessarily the high flying dunking guy. He sells tickets. He's fun to watch. Don't get me wrong, but how much does he help you win? And that's going to be the question throughout the rest of the season, because you now have Butler. Is Jonathan Kaminga the long-term plan? How much money is he going to command? Is he worth the money that he's going to command? Are you going to get him on a team-friendly deal, and then maybe he makes his big payday 3 years from now if he gets a 3-year deal? But you look at Moody getting 3 years, $13 million a pop, and that seems like value if you're talking Jonathan Kaminga making over $30 million a year. Because right now there's not much of a difference in terms of who has been more effective over the last, I guess it's only been a week. You got to slow your roll, and that's the issue with this conversation that we're having March 22nd. Is it's one that we're hopefully having in June, right? Not really March 22nd, but every game that he goes out there and just struggles in a non-Steph Curry game where it's like, hey, either you got to be outstanding defensively, either you got to be grabbing 12 rebounds. He only had 2 in the game today, or you have to be scoring 25 points. You have to do something to help this team win. And today he really didn't do it, aside from a stretch in the first half where I thought he was good. Second half wasn't even really getting minutes, 22 minutes. And a lot of that has to do with easing him back in after the injury. But I do think a lot of it has to do with just guys like Payton and Moody and others were playing better than Jonathan Kaminga. And that takes me back to that Joe Lacob conversation. Joe Lacob has already said, Kaminga, warrior. Kaminga's a warrior. He's my guy. I love JK. He's amazing. But he doesn't have the final say, right? It's a team effort in terms of the front office. And you would have to think that in a contract year, with Jimmy Butler now returning and seeing these guys play together for the first time, that this is somewhat of a trial run. I mean, if he doesn't have a good rest of the season and he's just all right, and he's, courted by Brooklyn, who throws him $40 million a year or something, you got to seriously think about that. To have one in the chat that says, no way, you sign Kaminga regardless of the dollar amount. He's too young. He's too talented. You can't give up on him. We've been saying this for a long time now, and we are still waiting for him to dominate games consistently. But again, you go back right before the injury, before Butler was involved in the mix, and he was scoring 30 points off the bench and looked really, really good. So let's not get above our skis here. Let's take it one day at a time. But again, the conversation surrounding Jonathan Kaminga after the 9-point loss to the Atlanta Hawks is he did not have a great game, and the plus minus backs up that he did not have a great overall game. That's what that is. Pajimski 19, Moody 20. Quentin Post 11. You have a lot of talented young players. Is Jonathan Kaminga the one that we thought was going to be the most talented, the most gifted, the kind of face of the next era? Is he actually going to be the one that is not a part of the next era and everyone else is? Post and Jimsky and Moody. So we'll see. That's a fascinating development that still has a lot of moving parts, to say the least, because I thought Kaminga looked good his first game back, and since then has not been nearly as good. So we will see there. Warriors coming up, the stretch that they have, and we do see in the chat, watch Kaminga get traded, kill it on another team. I don't know. I don't see that superstar. It's opinion based. I mean, at the end of the day, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, how they feel about a basketball player. I've been completely wrong many times before. And in fact, I was called the fade master growing up because you'd fade the picks, you'd fade the takes. It sometimes worked. But there's just something about his game that, I mean, he's explosive. He does have a nice little turnaround shot around the rim. If he could live around the rim and finish consistently, like, I really would love his game. But there's just like this weird stutter, it feels like, with his attack, to where sometimes, like, we saw it get taken away today, and we saw him lose it around the rim against Giannis, to where you look at him and you say, is he that much more athletically and physically gifted than everyone, to where he can just put his head down and dominate like a Giannis? Because the two comparisons that we always get, and they're unfair because it's two of the best players in basketball history. You get Giannis, you get Kawhi. He's definitely not Giannis, and he's definitely not Kawhi. And he's never going to be Kawhi, and he's never going to be Giannis. Therefore, he's never going to be as good as either of those two players. Great. Those are two really damn good players. He can still be a very effective NBA player, and I've said I think he's a good NBA player right now. The question becomes, when the financials get involved, in the long-term future of your franchise is there, are you going to continue to, make another gamble where it's, hey, we're going to give him another prove-it contract if he will accept what we're throwing him, and then the big paydays in 4 years or whatever? Because I do not think the big payday and the huge payday that some people thought before the season was coming, I don't think it's coming from the Warriors. I truly don't. But again, that is my opinion. This is not opinion. This is fact. The Warriors' next 4-game stretch is basura. It's not good. Let's talk about it. Coming up on Locked On Warriors.
And most importantly, he a dog.
We need more dogs.
Today's episode is brought to you by one of the things that just gets me through life, and I know that it does for other people as well. It is our friends over at 5 Hour Energy. Daylight savings has snuck up on us, and if you're at the point where you feel like you've lost that hour of sleep, 5 Hour Energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun. Sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, or whether you are going to golf after work or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5 Hour Energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. Late basketball for the madness? 5 Hour Energy helps get you up the next day, gives you time for extra activities, and it's on-the-go convenience. It's tiny, it's easy to grab, it'll have you feeling refreshed, and it tastes good. 15 flavors: watermelon, blue raspberry, peach mango. You can even build a 12-pack or 24-pack. It's delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5 Hour Energy at your local grocery or convenience store. They are everywhere. So stock up today and stay energized with 5 Hour Energy. Also, college basketball is here, and Locked On plus Amazon Fire got you hooked up. Here's a little preview of a show that actually I am producing starting Sunday in Dallas. So if you're a fan of some of the production work that I put into play and you're a fan of college basketball, you definitely want to tune in. Here's a preview.
The NCAA tournament is here, and so is the bracket breakdown.
Locked On Podcast Network and Amazon Fire TV channels are teaming up to deliver NCAA tournament coverage like never before. Watch studio shows featuring former players and Locked On's local experts as they guide you through every upset, buzzer beater, and bracket matchup.
Stream it all for free on Amazon Fire TV channel. Search Bracket Breakdown to see it all for free.
It's your team every day.
Forget that. We champs. Why are you starting with that question? We got 4 championships.
All right, so we should be getting Steph Curry back on this road trip, one would hope. Although, with the way that it's structured, if he is not 95%, Celebrini and company may just hold him out because this stretch is very winnable with or without Steph Curry. You get what's the opposite of red hot? The ice cold. What's cooler than being cool? Ice cold. Miami is in a free fall right now. They have lost many, many games in a row. As of the last time I checked, it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I can't even keep track. It's so many. It's 10. They've lost 10 straight games. They're now 29-41. The Andrew Wiggins trade, it's been fine in terms of him playing well. He's been out for a minute, but he's returned and returned well. 30 points in his last game for the Miami Heat. Unfortunately, they lost the Houston Rockets 102-98 in that game. They've lost to some good teams. I mean, the Pistons, the Knicks, the Grizzlies, the Celtics, the Clippers. That's their last 6-game stretch, and they've played some of those teams tight. The Pistons, they lost by 3. They hung around with the Celtics. The rest of them really beat them good. But even before that, Hornets, Bulls beat them. Timberwolves, Cavaliers. So a 10-game stretch of not great basketball. But we will see Andrew Wiggins again. That'll be nice. And Jimmy Butler will probably not have a warm welcome as he returns back to the place where he said he could never find joy there again. That game is on Tuesday, March 25th, and then the Warriors don't play again until Friday. So it's now Saturday at the time of recording this podcast. And in the next 5 days, the Warriors only play one game on the road at Miami. Then it's at New Orleans, it's at San Antonio, and it's at Memphis. We said a 4-1 road trip was needed if you want to gain any sort of separation, or at this point, maybe even just hang in that spot, hang in that number 6 seed. You may need to go 4-1. Guess what? The Warriors lost their one. They have to beat Miami. They have to beat New Orleans. They have to beat San Antonio. They have to beat those 3 teams. Well, I guess the 4-1 stretch included Toronto. So you're 1-1 during this 5-game stretch, I should say. And then it's at Memphis. It's at the Lakers to conclude the road trip. You got Denver, you got Houston. So the schedule does pick up for the 4 games after that. Beat Miami. 1 game at a time. Beat a team that's lost 10 straight games. The Warriors have not lost 2 straight since Utah, Los Angeles, after the Butler deal had been done, but Butler was not yet on the Golden State Warriors. That was the last time the Warriors had lost 2 straight. And they've shown a few duds at Dallas when Dallas had no one. That was a dud. Then about a month later, or 3 weeks later, at Philadelphia, that was a dud. And then about 3 weeks later at Atlanta, that was a dud. If you get one dud every 3 weeks, you're fine. This is the NBA. You're not going to win every single game. It just is the way that it is. That's the way the cookie crumbles. So get this win against Miami, and we could talk more about that moving forward. In terms of the standings and how they shaped out, it's crazy right now how the Western Conference looks. The Warriors at this current moment are 41-30. They're a half game up on the LA Clippers and a half game up on the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's it. Kings, Suns, coffin nails, put the Sharpie on them. They're playing teams at best. The teams fighting with the Warriors for that spot, Clippers, Timberwolves. Half game back. It may be a furious fight until the last game of the season when the Warriors play the Clippers. And they have not been good against the LA Clippers this season. Clippers always give them some fits with the size, and that could be the last day of the season. But remember, we believe went down to the last game of the season to secure a playoff spot. Now, completely different. No play-in back then, but there's a vibe about going into the last game of the season with a must-win basketball game. But it's a vibe that we don't really want to be in. You know, if they were 3 games back right now, if the Warriors were 3 games back, we'd want to be in that spot. But with a half-game lead, I don't have it go to the end of the season. Just start winning some games. And quite frankly, catch Memphis. You're now 2 games behind Memphis, who's 43-28. It's going to be tough. If you do catch Memphis, your likely consolation prize is either the Lakers or the Nuggets. It is possible the Rockets could lose some and slide all the way back there. This is moving. Unfortunately, you cannot do a standings watch right now and say, hey, I want to be in the 5 seed because I think we could play the Nuggets. Because you may get in the 5 seed and it may end up being the Lakers, and that would be tough. Or maybe you get the Rockets sliding down there, and that would be great. So all you want to do is avoid the play-in right now, and that's the only thing on the Warriors' minds are winning basketball games, and they've done just that. They're 8-2 over their last 10. Unfortunately, the Clippers are 8-2, and the Minnesota Timberwolves are 8-2 as well. So, and the Rockets are 9-1. And by the way, the Oklahoma City Thunder at this point have clinched the conference. It is over. The Oklahoma City Thunder are your number 1 seed. And then in the Eastern Conference, there's still a little fight, but it's looking like the Cavs are going to be your number 1 seed over there. Boston likely number 2. I would say that's just about set in stone at this point. And then the Knicks are probably going to be your 3, and the Pacers or the Bucks your 4. So we'll see how it shapes up in the East. We obviously don't have to worry about that for quite some time, being a Locked On Warriors podcast. But the West is shaping out to be those 8 teams that I mentioned. Sacramento, the Zach LaVine trade, whatever the Kings were doing at the deadline, it hasn't worked. They're 4-6 over their last 10. The Doug Christie magic that happened to start, it has not been there. Sabonis has been down. They're not good. They're average. They're a game better than average. They're 35-34. And then the Phoenix Suns, they're starting to win some games. So maybe they can be dangerous come play-in time, but it's going to be through the play-in at best. And they are tied with the Dallas Mavericks. And quite frankly, the Portland Trailblazers are a team to watch out for. They've won 4 in a row, and they're sneaking back up for that 10 spot to potentially be a dark horse that wins a few in the play-in. And next thing you know, has a crack at the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'll tell you what, there are some young teams that are coming. Raptors could be one of those teams too. When we see them fully healthy, they have some nice young pieces and looked pretty good against the Warriors the other night without half of their young pieces. Charlotte Hornets are one that I don't see coming anytime soon. The Washington Wizards don't appear to have a lot of hope in the Eastern Conference. The Pelicans, it's been a season from hell. We'll see what they look like at full strength. The Jazz it's not good for the Utah Jazz, frankly, but the Spurs, the Blazers, and some of these other teams are coming a bit in the West. So exciting stuff. Final thoughts from the game today is just that, look, you play a first quarter like that, you're going to lose just about every single time. You lost the game in the first quarter. Bad games happen. Whether you play tough or not, you should beat the Heat and the Pelicans and the Spurs. And then hopefully after those 3 games, that is when Steph Curry returns during this road trip and you see him play against the Lakers and against the Memphis Grizzlies. The Warriors led for exactly 11 seconds of this game today. 11 seconds. And never pulled it within 2 possessions late. They did give it a fight late, I will say. If the Warriors were playing like they did the last 4 minutes of the game to start the game, they probably would have hung around and had a much better chance to win this game. But you can lose games in the first 12 minutes, and that's what the Warriors did today. They went down 22, and again, 11 seconds leading of this game. That is just kind of the theme of today's game, was just that the Warriors did not play well. It's now 6 straight years. And it is the most that the Warriors have given up points-wise since March 1st when they gave up 126 against the Sixers. Niang killed it for the Hawks. The team was shooting excellent. They shot 60% in the first half. Rotations defensively weren't great. The drive and kick killed them. Atlanta had 37 assists. Layups, we didn't talk about layups. Warriors really struggle to make them close to the basket. Maybe it's just the team that you follow always seems to miss layups. But they miss a lot of layups. I'll tell you that much. When you're watching day in and day out, every night, you see way too many missed ones close to the bucket. And it was the same way again today. There was a little bit of a lid on the bucket. They tried to put in Trace Jackson Davis, did the Warriors, to step out and guard Okongwu or just give them any sort of a spark. And he had a block. He had a bucket. He looked okay in his minutes out there. But again, it was only a few minutes. Warriors are now 3-23 when trailing after 3 quarters. One of those 3 wins was their last game against the Toronto Raptors. So Atlanta coasts. JK was chirping and scoring early, was making things happen. And then second half, I kind of forgot Kaminga was on the team for a second. I did not hear much of him. You know when Kaminga is having a good game, especially when you're watching the home broadcast, because Fitz will give you a Kaminga, and we did not hear any of those today. It's because he didn't grab any rebounds, and second half, like I said, did not do much. Moody made things happen without scoring, found cutters for assists, took a charge late in the game, and he also scored 20 points. Pod's 3-ball is looking really good, but did miss one late that they needed. So we will see. Last note, offense was kind of ugly. A lot of ISO. Didn't seem like there was a ton of flow. There was only 8 assists in the first half from Golden State. That's not going to get the job done. And that is where we stand right now for the Warriors. 1 game in their next 5 days. It's a Butler homecoming to Miami. Win that, reevaluate Steph, get him back for this tough stretch coming up. And hey, you're still in the catbird seat. Half-game lead right now. You do have tiebreaker against Minnesota, and you have the Clippers the last day of the season to where if it's tied, you will have a chance head-to-head to win. There's still very much winnable games coming up, but it is, again, shocking how well the Warriors had been playing, how many games they've won with Jimmy Butler compared to the amount that they've lost, and the fact that there has been no separation. It truly is the Wild Wild West, and it is going to be fun. Anyways, that's a long Saturday show that was supposed to be like legit 5 minutes. I just went on for about 37. We're only supposed to go 35. So that's a wrap. Have a great weekend, everyone. Again, I'll be in Dallas doing that March Madness show that we told you about on Amazon Fire. Just ask Alexa, hey, bracket breakdown, March Madness, and that'll pop right up. I'll be producing that, and I'll bring the laptop and try to do the live show on Monday. If I don't, that is why. Locked On Warriors. Talk to y'all soon. Peace.